naturally teams are going to come in, put a lot of money on the table. He's going to be back here in preseason. He's not going to get the game time. He's not going to be the main man anymore.
Could give him till Jan.
That might maybe push us to sell him.
I personally think he's better than Nketiah.
I agree.
But I think
when we say Gunner, sorry to cut you, but when you say he's better than Nketiah, what do you mean? Obviously, goals is one thing. Because again, I asked you just because you look at Mikel Arteta's system, goals win games, and he says that. But arguably, it's not the most important thing of a striker. And I think Balogun's, based on what I've seen, he's developed at that. But Eddie's probably still ahead in that. Now, obviously, months can change things. But yeah, I cut you.
I feel like Balogun's got more of an all-round game. Like beyond goals, like he can impact the game without scoring, and I think he's a more refined finisher as well.
He looks a bit more polished as well.
He's like a bit more composed when he gets in front of goal. Like physicality wise, he just looks like more imposing. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't look like. I mean, I know he's playing in the French league. I watched him at under 23 level as well. He just doesn't look like he gets pushed around as much, and his footwork, like his technical ability, like what he can do with his feet, his first touch, all of this stuff.
Fantastic.
He's light years ahead of Nketiah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not in that department. It's not close. You know what I mean? He can play on the left as well.
That's what I was going to say, and that's what I was going to say, because look at where he's scoring his goals from. This is what we get from Trossard. If we're going to have that fluid interchanging front line, are we going to
saying Balogun left wing?
Yeah, man. It all starts up front, moves out to the left as Martin.
I ain't gonna lie, if we're starting him officially left wing, then I'm saying sell, because for me, you're a striker. Like, I understand it multifunctional, but you are a striker, man. I don't see that.
See my point.
And all of that stuff.
But he does go out. He does drop out left and that. I remember when we played Sunderland last season, Balogun started on the left wing, Eddie started up top. In that game, I think we'll see him as that. He's someone who can
Arteta and some of the managers say that they start players at the left wing to get them to develop to be a striker eventually.
I mean, Wenger used to put people in awkward positions when they were coming up to learn.
Yeah, Carlos
Wenger brought Henry as a winger. He was a winger, and he brought him refined him into being a striker, just because that facet of taking players on and timing runs to get behind defenses that you have from being from wing play and from wide play. That he didn't need to refine in Henry. It was just like his finishing. Do you know what I mean?
I think too many conclusions are being drawn on Balogun, and I only ask that because he's having a great season. If he was to come back next season, every good game you're a madman. Every bad game you're overrated. We should have took the money. Obviously, if he was to, let's just say we reject 50 million today, and then he goes and has an underwhelming season, people are going to say something. Obviously, the flip side, if he goes and has a better season, I don't really think there's a direction we can move, and I personally think it's literally down to Arteta. In an ideal scenario, I would like him to be given until, assuming he wants to stay and be second fiddle, I want Arteta to throw the gauntlet down. You've got pre-season up until January to convince me. Now, we're in the Champions League, you probably won't get opportunities there, but if there's injuries, take it, really. And I also think we're getting quite a big squad now, and there's only certain amount of attackers that can be on the bench. Like right now, you look at Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah, give or take, if they're both fit, one of them is going to miss out from the match day squad just based on who we've got. Now I know Tomiyasu's injured, so I don't know. For me, I don't know with this Balogun thing, man. I like him. I want him to come through, but I don't know.
Listen. I want him to stay. I actually really want him to stay. But where I kind of take a little bit of I feel like it's a bit mad is he's better than Nketiah, bro. I think that's craziness, bro. I feel like if you put Nketiah in the French league, I'm not saying he's going to score against all the big teams that Balogun scored, but he might get more. I think he's getting more goals, bro. I think that Nketiah, you're giving him a disservice. I think the issue that Balogun has got, I think, over Nketiah is Nketiah not someone who I believe can do what he does. His game can't last for 5, 6, 7 games, because I feel like we saw him starting to tire after maybe, what was it, the 4th, 5th game?
To be fair, it's a big ask, man. We're asking him to play 90-minute games consistently. Yeah. He's playing like 10 or so games on the spin.
And with the intensity. Now, look, people are going to say, oh, well, Saka can do it. But my thing is, Saka's been doing it because he's been in the team. And we saw last season.
But man, I think Saka's not knackered. Like, they're all knackered. But Benjamin White's always pulling down with cramps if you're at the Emirates.
Remember, Nketiah's role, pretty much throughout his whole time, has been come off the bench, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour maximum. He's never had to play game in and game out 5, 6, 7 games other than last season. So I think it takes time to get your mind prepared mentally, get your body prepared physically. There's so much that you have to do that entail to be a top striker. And I think when you see someone like Nketiah, he's only going to get more refined. Now, yes, sometimes he's finishing. I'm looking at him like, brother, bro, you got no composure, bro. Like, you're a big man. Come on, like, get a bit more composure. But that's going to take time. You think about Theo Walcott. When he first came, it took him time to be a more.
You look at Kane, Vardy, and Aubameyang. That man's age. Not saying that Balogun or Eddie are going to be there. They were nowhere near it, really. Jamie Vardy was probably stacking shelves and things. So I think it's very harsh to just judge strikers straight away. And I just live in this game, especially this youngster thing. And can I be devil's advocate and offer? Obviously, we all know youngsters take a bit of time. Everyone progresses at different rates. But if we're doing this youngster thing anyways, where there's bare youngsters, surely it becomes kind of redundant about the speed of your development. Are you doing this or not? Because I think we're going to get into a scenario soon where not everybody, because Saka's an exception rather than the rule. Unless you're kind of on this Saka thing, you might not progress into the first team. If you need a little bits and bobs and you're able to do something, then fair enough. Because the way Saka, Eddie, and even Smith-Rowe is a first name on the team sheet, they've all had different routes. You know, Smith-Rowe had to go Huddersfield for a sec and come back and he's doing the thing. Balogun, we don't know really and truly. Eddie and Nketiah, I agree with both of you. I think Balogun's got more layers to his game, but I also think people are quite harsh on Eddie and kind of underestimate what he gives to the team.
I don't think Eddie's rubbish.
Eddie's not accepting of being the side man at the club, if I'm honest. I think Balogun genuinely wants to start with respect to Eddie.
I've always said to compete in 3 competitions, I think 4 competitions, I think you need 2 or 3 striking options anyway. And obviously, we've got Trossard, who can operate as a false.
That's another thing that's a spanner in the works. Then
that's true. True.
Trossard, you said it there, Gunner. Like, does that further confirm Balogun? Because I think we've also, all of us 5 here, we've got to consider it from Balogun's case. I'm sure he wants to make it, and there's a romance. But when you look at the maths, you've got Eddie in front of you, you've got Jesus in front of you, you've got maybe a next attacker indirectly in front of you, you've got now Martinelli and Trossard. You know, you might not play that much football unless there's injuries, or at least the first half of the season till Jan. Does it make sense to go out on loan again?
I think that's harsh to say as well, because you look at the 08-09 season, Man United. Who were their forwards? They had Ronaldo, they had Tevez, they had Berbatov, and they had Rooney. Yeah. I can't understand why people. What happened to that? What happened to rotation?
Two strikers.
We're in foot. No, that's what I was about to say. Look, I know they did play 2 strikers up front. Fine, okay, cool. But why does that mean that we can't put 2 strikers on? Why does that mean
you can pull it on, but Arteta's shown he's not doing this. And it's not also about goals. It's about, I keep saying it's about what else you're doing without scoring, because goals aren't necessarily the most important.
No, I'm saying man will get game time. I'm saying people will get game time. There's so many competition, there's so many games, and the more that we get better next season, we buy a few more players, we're gonna be playing 70, 80 games.
First half of the season, where does this game time come from? Because Arteta, if we just go off what we saw, he's going to go strong in the champs. He's going to go strong in the league.
Yeah, League Cup. Okay, fine, but like
League Cup, that's like 2. I swear that's like 2 games before the end of the year.
The first
games in the league and the Champions League off the bench. Any group games as well in the Champions League that we can get away with doing it.
I think what we're doing is we're thinking that this guy Arteta doesn't progress. From when he first came in, we played 3.
No, that includes me. Arteta
no. I'm just saying in general. Like, I just think that we need to start understanding that Arteta, this guy is actually like a child genius.
He's a guru, man. He's a guru in this.
Everything he does is calculated, and there's a thought process that's gone on for a long period of time. It's no like coincidence that he's gone to the team that he's gone to. It's no coincidence that Patino's gone to the team
after rejecting it. With Arteta after rejecting him. Even you know what, you have to big up the loan managers, because where we show half of these players, we pick good clubs.
I just think that when you look at what's going on at this team and what this team right now, I think that there's a real clear plan, as we keep saying, all of us keep saying. And I just think when you look at someone like Balogun, I think that he's going to be a perfect foil to come on, start games, because you're right. Like, and what makes you think that Nketiah might not be, the person that falls in the pecking order? Like, I
want them both to. It's good problems. If you want to start, you have to do it. You look at City. There's always a time where one of them are not in the team. One of them attacking players are not in the team, and also there's a time where Bernardo, Mahrez, one of them, they're in a real good bunch of form. So you're right. I mean, Balogun would have to accept there's competition in it. But my point is, we just don't know, fam.
Let me throw another name at you guys then, because if we're doing this for Balogun, why is no one talking about ESR then? Because ESR looking right now.
Nah, Smith-Rowe's calling. He's good. Don't worry, he's good. He's good. Smith-Rowe defensively, he's good. Don't worry.
All I'm saying is it's looking spooky. We're talking about Declan Rice. We're talking about the Caicedo.
Yeah, it's looking peak. If you stagnate, you're looking like you might get lapped, Smith.
You're looking, and my man's got a certain number that I'm thinking, yo, like. Yeah, you sure you should have picked that number up? Like, so all I'm saying is right now, I just think that we need to start thinking, yo, there's managers in this team that on this squad that are going to be, limited amount of minutes that it looks like. But when it comes down to it, ESR's not going to be forgotten. He's going to get minutes. He's going to get game time. Balogun's going to get game time.
And I'm not going to lie to you, bro. Do you know what we all need to remember? As much as I love Hayland and all of these things, and I want everyone to play and it's all kumbaya, pardon my language, fuck all of that. We want the best players to play. If life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. If Arsenal's life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. If everyone got the same amount of minutes and, there, Nelson, Tommy Asu, you ain't played, Tina, you ain't played, we might not be where we're at. I actually think a good part is Arteta's kind of kept the team the same way. So if you want to play, fight it out, man. We've had this before. Some players, we might, 2 years from now, there might be the next Balogun who genuinely goes on and does bigger things. But at this moment in time, some players are going to have to be with it and not. Even Nelson, it always appears in the balance. I don't know what he's going to do. Even if he continues what he's been doing, he's got a decision to make, because I think you prefer to play off the left. The left is open season. You could be Saka's backup man. But as you said, nowhere in God's green earth are you playing ahead of Saka. So it's a techie one. What do you lot make of Tavares?
Yeah, I think he's gone as well.
Yeah, I think.
So. Yeah, I think.
But no, but I do want to ask you. So where's ESR's position? Because that's actually quite important. When you actually
you can play 10, you can play 8, you can play on the left. Go get your name in the team.
No, for me, it's 100% an 8. No, wait. I'll say an 8. Yeah, in Xhaka's role.
But we've got.
I think Odegaard should do that next.
If I have to pick a place to put him, that's where I'm putting him.
But this is where I'm going to get you. All right, cool. If we get another forward, or we've got the Trossards that we know that he trusts, or the Gabriel Jesus and Martinelli's on the left. Yeah, that's one. And then we bring Balogun and Nketiah. So these are all of these players that are up front with Saka, and then maybe Reece Nelson goes. He's probably not going to get much game time in the forward line, yeah, because I feel like he trusts a lot of other players more. Then if we bring in Declan Rice, he's going to be a big money fee. He's not going to be starting over that. Fabio Vieira is also there that no one's even thinking about, £35 million. You also got then there's going to be someone that's going to come in to replace the likes of Jorginho or be that backup player, in my opinion. You've also got Odegaard there. That's the captain that's going to play game in and game out. So the same thing we're talking about with the minutes with Balogun, I'm just saying ESR isn't guaranteed nothing. I don't think that I know that people like him and we love him.
Let's your Bukayo Saka or Jesus.
But again, like this is the
thing at this club.
I don't really think he should be hung up on that at 21 years old. You know what I mean? I think like if you look at Xhaka's at the other end of the scale, he's 30, 31. Do you know what I mean? So, if we bring in someone else and him and Xhaka are tandeming, there's going to come like a year or two where Xhaka goes, and then you've got like the guy that came in that you just brought and ESR together. Do you know what I mean? And then the guy you bring in, like with ESR, would be age profile wise older enough so that he's not blocking the pathway, and then ESR's just being kept about there. Do you know what I mean? Like
18 months, 2 years, our midfield would probably look a lot different. With, like you said, to echo Gunner's point about, you look at Jorginho, El Nene, Partey, Xhaka, and probably someone else. Within the next 18 months, that could look a bit different, man. I honestly believe Fabio Vieira, Smith-Rowe, Odegaard should all be groomed to players at 8. You bring a next 8 in, but I agree with what Lee is saying in that indirectly, there's a lot of competition for places, and kind of touched on my point about whether you're a striker, a winger, a 10 or whatever. Only certain man can be in the starting 11 and on the bench. As much as it's squad and all of these things, you have to probably be accepting. And I guess Arteta is going to have to make some harsh decisions. There's even talk around essentially Smith-Rowe heading out on loan for a year. Which
I can see it. I'm not going to lie to you. Listen, I think people are not really understanding how important next season is for ESR, because the injuries, the amount of unavailability. There's so many things where I'm looking at and I'm saying, look, I really do think that ESR has got a problem on his hands. But listen, I don't want to be the Grim Reaper because I know people are going to get onto me.
He's all right, man. We got faith in him. Don't forget he dropped double figures last year in the league, man.
He did. But listen, football's a game of what have you done for me lately? And all I've seen him, he was sitting on the bench warming it up, like, because you look like my hot blanket right now. So
to be fair, you look at the Bournemouth game, you got the assists as well.
It's not really been because he's like been fit and has been in a position to compete and win his place back. You know what I mean? If it had been, then I'd be like, okay, look, he's had a chance to win his place back. He hasn't, but he's not like his fitness wise. I want us to get him back to a place where he's fit again. Yeah. And then just not think any further ahead. We're not thinking that we keeping him, we selling him. Let's just get him fit again. Yeah. Let's get him back in the squad. Let's get like a run of games where we can just see what he can really do. And then let's make an informed decision. Because I don't feel, I do think of last season. He was our second top goal scorer. Do you know what I mean? Like, he has shown a level that he can hit. He has shown, that when he is fit and in the right sort of conditions, he can contribute. Like, it's not like he's never, ever proven himself. Do you know what I mean? Last season was a very good return for him. Like, even when you consider he didn't play in the back end of the season because Martinelli had kind of claimed that spot for himself.
Martinelli, another one who they said, he needs to go on loan. Arteta don't like
him. That's all of this stuff, man. Like, I just think, like, I do feel like a lot of the time we're like in a rush to make these sweeping judgments or decisions about players that are young. Do you know what I mean? Let's just give it time. Like, Champions League next season, we're going to need a bigger squad.
We don't want to be giving up. Even last season, we had one game a week. We still saw the injuries. You can never have too many players within reason.
We don't want to be giving ourselves too many things to fix. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't think ESR at our club is a problem that we have to fix right now. Like, I just think
stand behind the guy, man. He helped us last year. Don't stake him. That's why Tommy Yasu, they've got my support. Obviously, it can't last forever. You got to stay fit, but you're good, man. You're good. So I mean, Lee, you don't like anyone at the club, do you? My man, Smith-Rowe, like,
very clear. I want to make it very clear. I really do like ESR. I really do think that there's an issue with. I think next season it's going to be spooky because I think if they bring in two midfielders, I can't see ESR playing the forward.
We haven't even said Patino. We haven't even thought about Patino. What's happening?
That's my guy. He needs another. I'd loan him out.
Yeah, I think he's going to go on loan. I can see that going on.
I think, like Arteta said, slow cook that one. Do you keep doing what you're doing? Build on the Blackpool stuff. When the pathways open up with a Xhaka, a Jorginho, or El Nene, these kind of guys falling off naturally. That's your incline into the team, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think the Patino thing that's quite easy to deal with because listen, you're still young. Our Arsenal team, we're in a different kind of stage right now. We don't need any more Sakas to come up and be 17 and playing and make mistakes. We need kind of ready now, world class or coming up to that world class level.
Curtain raisers like Jorginho, not Jorginho, like Zinchenko and Gabriel.
There you go. So I just think that right now, I'm not worried about the Patino thing too much. I think he'll go along, but I'm more worried about ESR because I just really do think he is not playing in that forward line. He is not going to play in that forward line. And if we get two centre midfielders, bro, those two centre midfielders are definitely going to be the first option. You then got Fabio Vieira and Odegaard plays game in and game out. So that's why I was just asking you, man.
But this is what comes with, I'm not being funny. This is what comes with playing for a big club. If you got the number 7 like Saka or the number 10 like Smith-Rowe, you're at the pinnacle. You're at the top of the mountain. The only way is down. Man want to come for your spot, so keep it.
Eddie or Balogun move before
to address this comment here, like Xhaka plays as the further forward 8, and it is really Odegaard and Partey that are doing most of the like the defensive work when in transitions break down. Obviously, Xhaka does a bit
as well when we're playing.
I feel like those three together will be fine. You know what I mean? I just think ESR final third, like low sock takers, like the guy can shoot. You know what I mean? Like the guy's like just intelligent. You know what I mean? Like he's like he doesn't have like the athleticism or like the strength of say a Saka or that burst of like that quick like burst of like of acceleration or pace to lose a man.
Against United last year, left down outside the area.
He's more intentional. Do you know what I mean? Like you see his movements, like it's just a little shimmy here and there, and then he's losing something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think, I think he needs a bit more time. I don't know. I just think he does.
100% time. Listen, I'm happy to give him time. 110%. I really do like ESR. He's not my favorite, but I do like ESR. And I think what I like about him is a goal scoring midfielder, just like McAllister. You can't.
And he was a super sub at times last season. If I'm talking about squad depth,
fantastic.
Impactors.
Yeah, impactors. Sorry, Arteta. Impactors.
When you got certain man that kind of feel like they might need the game time more than others, and they're just spooky settings that I can see happening.
Yeah, Arteta's gonna have some problems. Come on, you don't. Do you think Arteta don't have issues? Like, in a nice way. No one wants to be on the bench. I think everyone can understand the team is ticking over, but Arteta's gonna have problems. You finally got good problems. Tini's in your ear saying, "I want to play." This guy wants to play. As Arteta says, "Show me in training." Like he kind of said it about Smith-Rowe. Smith-Rowe needs to show me how much he's wanted it. Again. Week out for Arsenal, called up by England, number 10 videos with Bergkamp. Now kind of the reality sets in, and we've seen that adversity when Saka's missed a penalty. This is how it is, This is why the greatest players have been at big clubs for years, because nobody's taking their spot. Saka isn't there because he's a nice guy. All of that stuff is great and whatnot, but you're there because you're a bloody good footballer for Arsenal. No one cares if you're a good kid if you're not good. So take a leaf out of Saka's book, eat whatever Saka's eating, stay fit. You got nothing to worry about for me, Smith-Rowe, man. I'll always defend Smith-Rowe to the day he leaves this club, man. I love the Highlanders personally.
Yeah, I hear it, man. I fully do hear it. I ain't gonna lie to you, but it's gonna be. Let's see, man. Let's see. And listen,
it's exciting though. Come on, man. It's exciting. We've just seen us being dumped out of the Europa League because of our squad depth isn't good enough to be competing at the level and play the system that Arteta wants to play. We haven't proven that. We've been knocked out of 3 competitions: Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Europa League, because of that. Because we have to keep turning to our next man. No one of us here enjoyed watching a single Europa League game this year. Not one, and that's because we haven't had the quality come in. Whether we do bring in 2 midfielders, that will help, and then I want us to be competing in 4 comps next season.
Yeah, why not? That's what you want to be doing, isn't it?
Definitely the FA Cup. I don't know about the champs. If we can just get out the group, take it from there. For me, the minimum is get out of that group, whoever it is.
Yeah.
How are we going to get? What position are we in now, DG, to get in the Champions League?
I don't know, man. It must be one of the top 4. I don't know. I heard Arsenal might be close to 70 points. Just keep working, man. Trust the process.
Madman, you're a menace.
Listen, if we win the league, I'm going to be a monster on my YouTube channel. But until then, I'm humble. I can't see anything. I don't know anything. One love for the super chat, AJ. Sorry, he said Smith-Rowe ain't got the defensive discipline awareness to play 8. I get he's one of our own, but he ain't levels to start week in, week out. Squad player or sell. Bit harsh because he showed he could. And off the ball, he's shown you can get into the team, AJ. But all I can say to that is he's going to have to prove you wrong. What have you lot made of the last month for football? Because if I reel off the results of March, obviously we won 4-0 against Everton. We won 3-2 against Bournemouth. Across the 2 legs against Sporting, we're obviously out. We bounced back against Crystal Palace. And just before Crystal Palace in the league, we won 3-0 against Fulham. So what have you lot made with the 6 games in March now?
Shout out to the man.
We didn't take any L's. That's the first thing. I still feel a bit bummed about the Sporting one, because I think if we played a stronger team in the first leg, I think we go through that. And their keeper was just on some other level. It always happens that way. A team's keeper ends up having the game of his life and then knocks us out. But yeah, for me, this month has been incredible. I think our Premier League form, this is the best start to 27 games to a league campaign. So, I mean, this is the best season Arsenal has played in history, really. So, yeah, this month has been really good. I think we're scoring a lot of goals in the Premier League. It just needs to come. We just need to continue being clinical. With Gabriel Jesus coming in, I feel like, if the chances that we're creating stays on par, I think we're going to continue scoring 4 or 5 goals every game, apart from the big games of Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle. Those are the only ones I'm a bit iffy about, but the rest, I think we just cruise.
So if I ask you in terms of improvements, because for me, set pieces, I think Arteta showed naivety against Sporting, if I'm honest, with the team he played in the first and second legs. But what do you lot feel?
They've become a bit of a problem against set pieces. Like, we were very good on them last season. I think we got the last couple of games of the season before we conceded from a corner. I am a bit mindful of that. I think that's something that we've got to work on. We're starting to look a little bit shaky in being able to kind of resist attacks that do come from set pieces. And look, we got great people in the air. Do you know what I mean? Saliba's good in there, Gabriel's good in there, Xhaka's good in there, Partey's good in there. So we have the players to get it right. I just don't know whether it's something to do with the organisation and the communication. I think obviously with Kiriro, I give him a bly in the first leg of the Sporting game when we conceded.
Yeah, we'll say Turner called for it. We'll allow him.
It did look like Turner gave him a shout as well to leave it. Do you know what I mean? And obviously he's new, but yeah, I do think that's something we got to be a little mindful of. The Sporting result for me, it's a real kick in the teeth. And like, look, I respect like every Arsenal fan's opinion. I feel like this blessing in disguise narrative is being a little too indulged in for my liking. You know what I mean?
Defeative, man. It's coping. Do you know what? Them guys are just coping. They're just finding a way to just cope with it, and that's okay.
Yeah, don't like
unless you were screaming F the Europa League from the start, that's a myth. That's absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like for me, look, like it's kind of like getting like we've been to 4 European finals since we last won one, and we haven't won any of them. Like for me, the European silverware thing is massive. Do you know what I mean? I keep saying this, like. I'm really tired of Chelsea fans talking in my ear. It's the one thing they've got that they can say to us, nothing else. You know, like I just want to be able to say, you know what, that's done now. Leave us alone. Yeah, our level is trying to compete with Liverpool and Man United. Like everyone else's level is below us. Like we're the next like content. Like I've always like that's how it was when I was a kid, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? I want that status quo to come back. So I do feel like as African